What's going on, guys? Ryan here. I want to start off by thanking everyone for the massive amounts of support on my last video. It's so awesome to know that you guys are enjoying the new type of videos I'm posting, since I came from being kind of a squeaky Minecraft kid.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. This is so much cancer that I can feel the tumors growing on my back.
Once again, thank you. And also, before I start, this video is going to contain some spoilers for the campaign, although it won't be too much. This is going to be a new series that I'm experimenting with, where I take a look at a somewhat older game and answer the question, was it really that bad? And did it deserve the hate that it did? In this first episode, we're going to be talking about Visceral Games and EA's spin-off game in the Battlefield franchise, Battlefield Hardline. It released on March 17th, 2015 and was the last game that Visceral Games developed before shutting down in 2017. It also met some pretty mixed reviews from the community. Personally, I think Hardline received these somewhat harsh ratings because of how different it was. Battlefield had been an almost exclusively serious military FPS series until Hardline, which showcased cops and robbers battling out over various objectives in a number of different modes. And let's talk about that. Battlefield Hardline had some very interesting mechanics introduced, and I feel like some of that was due to Battlefield 4's rocky launch. EA and Visceral felt like they needed to do something new, like they had to innovate, do something that the FPS community hadn't really seen before. I think that's part of the reason that this game was met with such mixed feelings. Take the yearly Call of Duty cycle, for example. When a new game's released, how did they base their review? Off of the previous year's game. But in the case of Hardline, there wasn't really a game to base it off of. The only real thing that it has in common with Battlefield 4 is that they're both modern, but we hadn't seen a cops and criminals type game anywhere in the FPS game for quite a bit. The only game I could think of would be GTA 5, and that's a whole different story. The first part I'm going to talk about is the campaign, which I feel like was grossly overlooked compared to the multiplayer. You play as Nick Mendoza, and have a sidekick name, I'm going to really try and pronounce this here, Kai Min Dao, in a sort of TV show type narrative. The story starts out with Nick and Kai getting to know each other as they run down a lead in a drug case. They're searching for a possible informant. Nick and Kai move behind enemy lines in a neighborhood searching for the target. The cops have rules of engagement that limit them from just outright murdering people, so you have to move through the alleyways stealthily. You find a couple guards and interrogate one of them, and he tells you where the man you're looking for is. Thus, the first mission concludes.
And that's the end of the game right there. It's over.
The rest of the game is somewhat of a blur to me. You're searching for a drug kingpin and have to take over multiple sort of outpost style things, from a school to the marshes in deep Florida. I'm not actually going to spoil the complete ending of the campaign because I kind of want to play it on the channel one day. The campaign wasn't exceptional by any means, but it really took a stab at being more of a TV show than an actual campaign, much different from Battlefield 4. I don't really have a ton to say about the campaign because it was sort of just a standard campaign. There wasn't really anything too interesting about it. I want to move on into the most important part of any shooter, the multiplayer. Now personally, I really enjoyed Hardline's multiplayer. They changed a ton of systems from Battlefield 4, such as buying guns with cash that you obtain from completing in-game objectives, later DLC's new mechanics, and having different weaponry for each faction. Hardline was very obviously a cops and criminals style game, with the police having access to gas masks, tasers, longer range weapons, things like that, while the criminals had more SMG, close range type weapons, grappling hooks, zip lines, brute force type things. It provided a much more interesting dynamic as to how you approached battle. Criminals would generally try and outsmart the police, and the police could create stakeouts from long range to survey the opposing side. We hadn't seen this much change in a Battlefield game before. For the first time, the series changed from military helicopters, tanks, and assault vehicles to civilian cars, trucks, and motorcycles. The multiplayer also had a fair bit of progression to it. There were still battle packs in the game, so you could collect XP from battles and get new attachments and cosmetic things to upgrade your respective side. Fan favorite game modes also made comebacks to appeal to the replay value of the player. Conquest, Rush, Team Deathmatch all made a comeback to the series, Conquest being especially fun to me in this game. I remember ziplining across buildings on maps like Downtown, while running on rooftops shooting across at a parking garage in Bank Job. No two maps felt the same in this game. Granted, there were certain maps that I deemed absolute trash, such as Nightwoods and Grow House, but that doesn't change the fact that they were all unique and had a certain way of traversing them. Another overlooked part of any Battlefield game, honestly, are the DLCs, and I can say for this game, the only two that I really enjoyed were Robbery and Getaway, and oh boy did I love these expansions. In Robbery, as the name suggests, the criminals had to plan and conduct a massive heist, while the police had to stop them. The maps weren't extremely memorable, but outsmarting the cops and getting away with stacks of cash was really a rush. As for my other favorite, Getaway, it swapped the standard locked-in objectives for more linear ones. Now, don't get me wrong, there were still some locked-in ones, but they felt more open and just a lot different. It also brought in some real game-changing aspects, such as a train that comes in and out of the map every few minutes. Super fun. I can't give any real insight into the other two expansions, named Criminal Activity and Betrayal, but I would love to pick up Betrayal, as the premise of it seems extremely interesting to me. Who knows, maybe I'll make a video of them on the channel one day. There were some other things that I didn't really mention in this video, such as the Hotwire mode and Commander modes, but I didn't really play those enough to give my real opinions on them. I'll have to let you know though. Personally, I don't think this game would have gotten so much hate if it was just named Hardline, not Battlefield Hardline. It definitely didn't deserve all the flack that it got, but it also doesn't stack up against giants such as Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. But hey, what are your thoughts? Did you love or hate this game? Be sure to let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.